Welcome to Sound Values, powered in part by LSA Burger and Classic of Denton.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in live tonight on DentonRadio.com, located in the beautiful Denton Discover Welcome Center on the ever-cooling Denton Square. Tonight, folks, I have got a trio of fine gentlemen here tonight. We've got you guys introduce yourselves real quick, okay?
One sec.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I'm Jackson Russo.
Hey, I'm Ryan Gordon.
Awesome. And
I'm Hagen Hauschild.
Awesome. Thanks for coming in tonight, guys. And together you guys make up the band called MNKR, spelled M-N. Here, I'm going to write this down. M-N-K-R for all of you at home.
Is that going to come up backwards?
This is how you spell it right here. It might. I don't know. At least it's not upside down, right? All right. We don't have that. So I don't even know if that would spell anything. It doesn't. All right. So we've got the band MNKR in here tonight, folks. We're going to talk about y'all's new record. I actually got to listen to about 4 or 5 of the tracks today, man. Really enjoyed the vibes. I was talking to y'all earlier. I felt like there was a lot of different influences going on, but you guys expressed concern where you're like, we didn't know if it was all over the place, or I did not feel that way at all.
Sweet.
I really enjoyed it. There was stuff that took me back to when I was, in high school in the 2000s when I was like listening to like Brand New and that kind of stuff. I felt like there was some harder rock in there. There was some very just melodic string picking as well that went good. And then, like I said, the mixing and mastering was really on point. I like that a lot. And the one thing that I was really impressed with, above and beyond, was just actually your voice, was the way that the voice blended with all of the music.
Thank you.
Some bands you kind of feel like it can be forced sometimes, but I felt like yours blended with the actual sounds of all the instruments really well. So now that I've told y'all my opinion, we're gonna get into the nitty gritty here. All right. So there is a question that I ask everybody when they come into the studio, and that question is, what is your first musical memory? All right, so kind of the first time you remember like seeing music. For example, I saw my parents were watching a Garth Brooks concert, and Garth Brooks like smashed a guitar and lit it on fire like Jimi Hendrix, and I thought that was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen, and I wanted to have like music be a part of my life somehow. I was like 5 years old when this happened, So that's my first memory. So does anybody just want to jump in by chance? Have they found one? Not to put anyone on the spot.
I'll let you guys think for a little bit, but I don't know if I can remember my exact first musical memory.
Yeah.
But I definitely, the reason why I play guitar, and this is a silly reason I said I'd never tell people because I'm embarrassed by it, is I saw School of Rock with Jack Black in it, and for some reason that I was just like, man, that's really cool. He's playing guitar and that's a thing. So for some reason that's why I started playing guitar. But then just in a more general music, why I listen to music so much and all that is because this was right when MTV was dying and it was becoming a whatever just reality shows
reality
and stuff
TV
like
show.
that. I really got into watching Fuse, and they were still having all those
dropping the Fuse. I like that, man. I remember when it was Much Music as well.
Yeah, all they played was early 2000s, that was right when Green Day had American Idiot and all that stuff, Yellow Card and all that stuff. Not that I really listen to that stuff anymore, but that got me into okay, this is kind of not simple guitar, but a lot more tangible for someone to just pick up a guitar and learn from what they're hearing at that moment. I'm not hearing Led Zeppelin and then be what do I do?
Yeah, exactly. It that kind of music. Not that it was bad music or didn't take talent, but it just made it a little bit more reachable for the average kid who lived in the suburbs and wasn't studying guitar 12 hours a day and learning classical.
Exactly.
Like those guys in Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Who's one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah.
But I can't play a single Zeppelin song. There's a reason for that.
And you were saying how we remind you a little bit of the early 2000s, and I was that. There's a song the second to last song on the record was my ode to that music, and it's called Pain, and I was just kind of sitting there just thinking of Death Cab for Cutie, and then Dashboard Confessional, and just for some reason I had just been listening to them a lot recently, and that's kind of why.
Now, since you made a confession, I'll confess. One time I saw Death Cab and they made me cry. It happened, and this old lady in front of me was crying. And it was, I will always follow you, or I'll follow you into the dark. And this older lady in front of me was crying, and we just hugged and just cried it out. Couldn't help it.
I think you get a refund on your ticket if that doesn't happen.
I think yeah. So I was put in the field. So that's my confession. Does anybody else got theirs?
Yeah. So it's hard. I can't figure out what the first like memory I had that was like, this is why I'm playing music. But my first concert was NSYNC that I remember, and that was amazing. Nice. I don't remember much of the concert, so it's hard for me to say like this is why I play music. But when I was in high school, I did a ton of musical theater.
Okay.
And that was a really big thing for me in continuing music.
Okay.
Because I was into theater and music in high school. I didn't know which one I wanted to do. So I ended up spending a lot of time doing both, and then eventually I just decided to stick with music, and so I stuck with singing and stuff like that. And I remember my senior year of high school, I had this one song that I sang in the musical that I spent months working on, and I was we did a ton of performances. I was super nervous about it, and that was the first time that I came off stage and somebody said that I made them cry with my voice, and I was like, oh, that's
hopefully that was a good thing.
That was my thought.
Like, can we please get out of here?
Yeah, that was my thought originally. Was like, why? What did I do wrong? But so a mixture of that, seeing NSYNC at an early age, and then continuing singing, and then with drums. My confession is that the way I started playing drums was through Rock Band.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I was always the drummer when my friends played Rock Band, and then a free drum set fell in my lap, and I was like, I guess I can do this.
I've been doing it this other way, so why not?
Yeah.
Do you feel like it seems like if you've done musical theater, especially in high school, so you've been doing things on stage for a while, do you ever deal with stage fright still? Do you still get nervous having been on stage so many times?
I think it depends on the show.
Okay.
For me also, so I spent a lot of my life singing, because that's what I did in high school, that's what I did in college. Mm-hmm. But for drums, for some reason, I never had I had very minimal nerves with drums. I don't know why. I don't know what it was. It just that getting up on stage and playing drums always felt a lot more easy and natural than singing, which, singing is a lot more personal than any other instrument because you're putting yourself on the line. But whenever it was drumming, I just always felt like I could just let loose and just hit a bunch of stuff.
Nice, man. There you go. Right on. How about you, bud?
All right. So I guess my musical endeavors kind of began in church when I was 6. I just kind of listened to all the instrumentations and the choruses, singing. And at that age, I just kind of realized that music can have a pretty intimate take, depending on your personal relationship with it, and that always kind of stuck with me. But I guess what really got me into playing was my older brother. When one day I just walk into his room and he's got this brand new guitar. He's got a little small amp, and I just hear him play a power chord. I'm like, whoa, what am I listening to? This is crazy. And I'm in my 11-year-old mind, I'm like, man, I want to be cool like him. my cool big bro.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I was the next day I was like, I want a bass. I just want to jam.
Yeah.
Jam
so your brother had the guitar, and so then you got the bass.
Exactly.
There you go, man. That's awesome. All right, so we've kind of gotten the backgrounds, So if you're at home, you're watching, you now have an idea of how these gentlemen became the fine musicians they are today. So let's kind of talk about the record a little bit here. The first question that I want to ask. And once again, like I told y'all, if you want to jump into conversation, interrupt me, talk to yourselves, be like, yeah, man, go right ahead. It is what it is. Hey, yeah. The first question is that I'm always interested is, how do you decide, let's start writing a record? How do you are you just kind of hanging out one day and you're like, hey, you guys want to write a record? Or is it you have songs that you write over time and eventually they come together? How does the process of putting something like this honestly, how does it start? How does it work?
I think Jackson just is always writing music, and he's the main songwriter of the group.
Okay.
And I think with this record, we had a lot of these songs are sitting and ready to go, and then we kept writing and came up with a couple more, and it just happened to turn out where we had a 12-song record, and it was a lot of fun.
That's what I noticed. I was like, man, there's 12 songs here.
Yeah.
And they talked me down to 12.
Oh, yeah?
When we went in we recorded with Brat Cantrell of Dojo Baby Studios, I think. Is it Dojo Baby Studios or Dojo Baby Records? I don't know what he's going by, but Brat Cantrell here out of Denton. And whenever I was talking to the band and him, I was like, I want to do 15 songs, like minimum.
Oh wow.
And because I'm a fan, like old school at heart, in the sense of like, releasing a full thing and having B-sides and like, maybe release that as an EP or a deluxe edition. And they really talked me down. We didn't have 15 songs at the time. I think we had like maybe 9. And I was like, we can write. This will, like put a fire under us, and we'll write some good songs, or they'll be bad and they won't make the record. Who cares?
Yeah, because you still have plenty of other songs that we haven't even touched yet. I mean, you told us recently that you already have the next record ready to go.
Yeah. Well, no. So after we finished like mixing, like, because I don't know if people know this, but like whenever you're like recording and mixing and mastering a record, all this stuff and that goes into it, that takes months. We started this at the beginning of summer, and we're just now releasing it almost into 2018. And, this has been with us forever, even though it's the first time a lot of people are hearing it. And like, I listened to those mixes like minimum like 30 times each. I was so done with the songs when we sent them off to be mastered. And, I got the masters back. I was like, this is incredible. I'm so happy with it. And but as soon as I heard those masters, I was like, all right, I can start writing again, because like it was a load off my mind. And I think I have like 8 songs finished already, and I'm already thinking about what's next. So I mean, I'm always writing. And I think with this band, to answer the question, is like when we got together, we've been together for maybe a year and a half now, something like that. When we got together, especially in a town like Denton, where there's like such a huge saturation of like great music and art over like all, I just decided we can't just be messaging Andy's, we can't just be messaging all these places saying like, hey, book us, without like tangible proof that we're not just some band who's just like, hey, we're a band. So we released an EP, not with the sense of like this is our statement, just like this will make us we'll be able to get booked at like all these venues, and it did that, and I'm really happy with it. We went on a tour doing that.
Nice.
Yeah, that EP was really fast. We did that one was all done live, no click, nothing, just like get it done.
Exactly.
Raw power, man.
So how did you said you guys were a band a year and a half ago. How did everybody kind of meet? Like the formulation of a band is always something very interesting to me. Sometimes there's Craigslist. Sometimes, like, I don't know, you walk into a room and there's a guy jamming and you start jamming with that guy, So how did the band come together?
So it's funny. Like he was going to UNT about a year before I got accepted.
Okay.
And I've known Jackson indirectly through my older brother, because in high school they were in a band called Low Tides.
Okay.
And so my brother was playing drums in that band, and only met Jackson a couple times during the whole when they were a band in high school. And then when I, he heard that I was going to UNT, and I'm like, oh, hey, somebody I know. All right, I'm not going in this alone. So, we just met up, talked about our musical interests, and, I heard some of his material, and, it really caught my attention. I was like, oh, yeah, like, I can see, like, what I can do with this personally. And so we just kind of started, talking musically, like, for about a year. I was living in the dorms and whatnot. I was always, like, walking to his house. Trying to escape the dorms, And so eventually we just wrote the songs to like our EP, and we were just in a need for a drummer, and our saving grace Hagen finally showed up.
Yeah, see, like the thing about Hagen, what's interesting is like until like like we started talking, I had no idea what you actually did. Like, I mean, at all.
He just exists.
Like, I had no idea. I just thought he was this dude with incredible hair, and he was nice to me whenever we would talk. But like somebody was like, oh yeah, he does this, and he's a drummer, and I'm like, oh, okay, this guy does stuff. All right, cool. I just walk around with Viking-like locks.
I'm just a hair personality.
I just sent a meme in our group chat among the band making fun of his hair. So it was a little Skrillex meme.
It like the hair kind of lengthens throughout the band, though. That's really well done on y'all's part.
Ryan's dad, every time I see him, tells me like, "Hey man," he'll pull me aside. He's like, "You got to get Ryan to cut his hair." I was like, "You're talking to the wrong guy. Do you not see my hair?"
He'll do it himself. I'm watching out for him. He has like a pair of buzzers.
Yeah, keep him away, dude. You fall asleep.
He just wants me to get down to his level because he's bald.
But we met, as Ryan was saying, like I think we had written that whole EP except for like maybe one of the songs, our first EP called On a Friday, and we had written it, just Ryan and me, and we were like, okay, well, we need a drummer, and you can find 1,000 drummers around, but they're all busy.
Yeah.
The good ones, at least.
Yeah.
And so
And I wasn't.
yeah. No. So I met Hagen at, like going to like house shows and stuff, and like we just spurred up a friendship. And I knew he was busy. I think he was in like 3 bands at the time. And I told him like, hey man, you don't have to join our band, but can I ask you to like play shows with us so we can get our foot in the door and maybe find like a drummer who isn't busy?
Yeah.
And like just play shows with us throughout the summer.
Yeah.
And then like at most like record an EP with us. That way we can, find drummers as well through that. And then, I don't think we ever had a conversation saying like, okay, well, you're the drummer now. I think we're still on that, like, are you part of the band now?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where
That's
it's
what,
like
everybody I play with asks me that question. Are you still in the band?
Well, goodness, like there are those cats in Denton where I swear every show I go to, they're playing in that band.
Yeah.
There's just those guys that people hit up who are money, and if they're available, that's who they get to come play.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's the beauty of this town.
Yeah, I mean, when I moved here, I didn't like. I remember coming up here in high school was the first time I ever like drove up to Denton, and I think we were juniors, and we were driving up here to see Astronautilus, and he was playing at Haley's when Haley's was still around at the time. And we probably drove up and down that street back there trying to find Haley's because we were thinking like it's gonna be this big, huge like place, and it was gonna be all awesome. But yeah, since moving up here and like getting to know the music scene and going around, man, it's just awesome how much music there really is, and then how much good, like just musicianship in general throughout it. Like me and my buddy lives down in Louisville, and he always jokes. He's like, yeah, the music scene in Louisville is thriving. No offense to the Louisville musicians, I don't know, but that's always his joke.
Well, like that feeling you just described there of like pulling up and you have this idea in your head of it being a massive thing, and then you're kind of disappointed by seeing what it actually is, like, maybe aesthetically, but then you realize, oh, it actually is this amazing thing.
Yeah.
In a different way is the exact feeling that like what like touring is like, because
see, that's what I was gonna ask too, because you guys said you went on tour, and that, I mean, I've never been on tour. I've played a lot of shows, but I have never like traveled state to state going to different venues. Like, what is that lifestyle like, man?
we did like a little like 2-week tour, so nothing massive,
Yeah.
but we definitely got our like fair share of like, we were sick of each other. We were on tour with one of Hagen's other bands, and it was just like,
Yeah, that was 2 sets a night for basically 2 weeks, where I was playing with Moniker and then another band I'm in, Kites and Boomerangs, and it was a situation where like maybe they were all sick of each other, but I was like still, the way that we had the tour set up was we took 2 cars. I drive a Honda Element. It's a great spacious vehicle.
Yeah.
be on the lookout for Hagen around the streets of Denton.
Yeah. And so you can take the seats out. And so we had all the gear, all the merch, everything in my car, and then all the people in Jackson's car.
Okay.
So I was very alone. And every time we pulled up to a venue, it felt like there was like 1,000 things I missed.
Not always in the good way.
Everybody
though.
in the back of the
They like posted a video when we were on the way to Oklahoma, and like one of the, I can't remember who posted it, but one of the members of Kites posted it and was like, "Look what Hagen's missing" or something as the caption. It's like, this is great.
It was us listening to that. I forgot. It's like Aqua, that band who did like Barbie Girl.
Oh my
yeah.
God!
We were
I'm
like
a Barbie
jamming
girl.
to that. Not Barbie Girl, but I
Oh.
think the group's name is Aqua.
Okay.
And like we were just jamming to that, and like, man, we were
Did
losing our
Aqua actually
minds.
come out with a full record? I just figured it was that one song, and
I
then
think so.
Man,
then
I hope they did. That
I
would
think
be.
I saw them on like TLC one time.
dude, I'm gonna look
Another
that up when I get
throwback.
home. Like what? Yeah, TLC. Yeah, yeah. What was that? Total or TRL too?
TRL, that's what I
Yeah,
meant.
TLC. I was like TLC. Wasn't
Yeah.
that the
Yeah, that's
No
like
Scrubs band? No Scrubs R&B group? Like, yeah, I was like, yeah, but it was with Carson Daly. Total
yeah,
Request
exactly.
Live.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the worst was when you would like sit around and like, I remember waiting for like 3 hours for the premiere of the Real Slim Shady video. Like sitting in my friend's upstairs bedroom, like, all right, it's coming, man, it's coming, it's gonna play. Or like, I think, and I still hold by this. I remember waiting, and I still think it's one of the best music videos of all time. Is Blink-182's First Date. That music video, if you're having a bad day, just watch it and you'll start laughing. It is one of the funniest videos I think, and I just sat there waiting for like that to start, man.
Man, I think I'm like one of the only people who still like waits up till like midnight. So say my favorite band's releasing a record, I'll wait up till midnight to like get it wherever it is, and it's just like they don't release them at midnight. That's not like a thing anymore. It's more like, oh, they say December 16th. It'll be out sometime that day.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, come on. Yeah.
That was like when the new Foo Fighters record came out. I opened up Spotify on like the day before it came out, and like it was like 10 p.m. or something, and it was like, listen to the album now, and I was like, I'm dropping everything I'm doing, listening to this record.
Yeah, man. So if you like, I kind of want to go around. If you had to, talk about your influences, because like I said, the record's got a lot of different influences that I felt like I said, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I just I feel like everybody's kind of got a different style. Or maybe not a different style, different influences, and then it combines to be this one cohesive record and style of music that I personally really enjoy. So if you had to kind of choose, either the people that you look up to as musicians, or what you try to emulate as far as being a drummer.
I think that Dave Grohl is easily like, it's an easy answer, right? I could say I love Dave Grohl. There's a lot of drummers I love out there. I listen to a lot of different kinds of music, and so like it all kind of blends together. And where I started in music as well, like with the musical theater stuff, I still think about music in kind of that way, as well
in the
as
theatrical aspect,
as well as like my favorite band is a metal band.
Yeah,
my favorite band is Between the Buried and Me, and so
great band.
Yeah,
great band.
Yeah, so like I take a lot of tiny things from what I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was listening to an Animals as Leaders song the other day, and I heard he hit this one snare hit in this cool way, and I was like, I hadn't thought about that before, and now I'm gonna try to do that in a song.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to like narrow it down to this is the guy or this is the sound, because it just comes from so many different places.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly like if you're ever in my car in my Honda Element with me, and we're listening to my Spotify, you'll probably get pretty annoyed with me about how much like the genre changes and stuff. So
he'll go from like metal to like I don't know if you listen to the Pentatonics, but stuff like that. Like he'll go from like boom, it's screaming, to like beautiful vocal melodies.
Yeah, for sure. So now let's talk about the man right here, because I mean you're the lead guy. You're the guy up front, man. Yeah.
I'm all over the place. Never mind.
You like got a glitch there for a second.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
So my favorite band is Coheed and Cambria. I wish I could write music like that,
Nice,
but I really can't. I'd say the more relevant band of what I think I strive to be as like a band is Modest Mouse. I think, and like the original Modest Mouse, like their first 3 records, like when they were a trio, that like hearing what they could do, like just the whole band as a whole, the drums, and like how Isaac Brock is like a rhythm guitar player, but what he's doing, it's like really memorable. And because I really feel that in myself, as I'm not a lead guitar player at all. I'm full rhythm.
Okay.
And just being able to do that.
So in the record, on that very first track, there's a song that song. It starts off with there's like guitar. It's like plucking, and then it goes into more of the rhythm. Did you play both of those parts on that?
I did, and that plucking.
See,
part,
I did listen to it. I did. I listened to it. I told you I would. I did.
That plucking part, I think I did maybe like 20 takes on that.
Man, because that was good.
Thank you.
That was a really good part of the record. I liked that.
I just that was the most stressful part of that whole record for me, which was shocking because we have like a song with like more complicated stuff than that, like rhythmically, and that was the thing that threw me off.
And just after, I had literally just walked into my house, and Pink Floyd's "Wish You Were Here" was playing in my car, and so it was interesting to like go, because in that song they have that down playing, and there's that, and then they bring that, and it's like there's like a low pass filter or a high pass filter on it, so just like mostly the highs are coming out in that, and then they bring that over the top. So it's interesting to go right in and kind of almost have like this same dynamic happen in that very first track that I turned on. I was like, oh, okay. So it's also good to know that I was listening to Pink Floyd and enjoyed your record immediately after listening to Pink Floyd too.
Well,
I wasn't like, I'm going back into my car. This lunch break is ruined.
Yeah.
So what about you, man?
So for me, So I guess it would have to all start towards the beginning. My brother got me into Metallica and like Cliff Burton. When this sort of bass playing, it's really lead. It's very melodic in what he does, and so that kind of got me going. And then I moved on to Rush. So like,
Oh, okay, the Holy Triumphant.
oh yeah, dude, Geddy Lee was like definitely a big influence in my early stages. He's what got my fingers going.
Mm-hmm.
Playing through the pain, whatnot.
Yeah.
And like so I'm starting to explore the bass a little bit in that realm, and then I get into like Primus and Flea from Red Hot Chili
Oh,
Peppers.
yeah, the slaps and all that stuff,
Oh
man.
yeah, no, I went through like a crazy slap phase where like my thumb hated me for a while. I do every now and again, but yeah, I would have to say definitely Rush and Red Hot Chili Peppers are pretty big in how I
Yeah.
play and stuff.
I got to see Red Hot Chili Peppers this summer at Bonnaroo, and it was pretty sweet.
Nice,
It
they
was
still got it, don't they?
yeah, and so I like to wake up early, and you can walk. You can't get to the stages, but you can walk into the grounds and get pretty close, and you can listen to them warm up.
Yeah.
So you can get close
Nice.
enough to kind of like see it and kind of watch, but you can really hear them playing really, really well. And yeah, man, they were awesome.
It's like approaching a deer. You don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
scare
yeah.
them away.
It's beautiful.
I had a friend.
Hush now.
I had a friend explain to me. He was like, "Yeah, I was at Bonner," and I was like, "Man, that sounds like that's like a big boy festival. You got to stay on the campgrounds. You can't like go back to your hotel at night." And he was explaining it to me. He's like, "Yeah, like it's kind of scary at first, but then like the first night I was there, I was falling asleep, and Elton John is like in the background, like playing like the actual Elton John. I was like, oh wow, that sounds incredible."
Yeah. I was. I'm not. I mean, I wanted to go see them, but I was drained. Me and my buddy saw like on the Saturday we saw like 16 bands in one day. We would go to like a half hour here, 45 here, half hour here, 45 here, just bouncing from stage to stage. And I fell asleep to U2 that night. I fell asleep to Bono. Just yeah. In the background, like off in the distance somewhere. So that was pretty. Yeah, my buddy came back and I was like, "How was it?" And he was like, "Bono, man, it's just so Bono."
And now you can't fall asleep without YouTube.
I know, but then of
You
course
need it.
everybody the whole like rest of the time was like Bono-roo. All right, not Bonnaroo. It's now Bono-roo.
You have one of those little noise machines next to your bed, and it's Bono.
Yeah, exactly. Just turn it on. It's just Bono whispering.
Yeah, I guess it's good to mention since Ryan was talking about all those like lead bass players that he listened to, any solo that you hear on our record or on the EP that we have, those are all Ryan. Like,
Okay.
no guitar solos at all. Like anything
Nice.
that's like actually hard to play on guitar is either the bass or Hagen played it.
Okay.
So, it's a ringing endorsement for our
Anything that
live
took
show.
actual talent, I wasn't a part of.
At least you get it.
Yeah. You guys mentioned some great bands, too. First off, Between the Buried and Me, I remember my buddy Kyle Pettigrew. I got to drop the names from time to time just to be like, yes, I still remember these guys. He had a Between the Buried and Me DVD, and I don't remember.
It's the Colors Live DVD.
Yeah. Dude, and I had never heard it before, but like he introduced me. He was like the first guy to like show me Tool and show me he showed me Muse and like all these bands, when we were like 14, 15 years old, getting older, and I was like, whoa, like this is something different, like that I've never heard before. And then he showed me Between the Buried and Me one night. He's like, dude, we got to watch this DVD. Like, we got to watch it. And it just resonated so well because like it had the heavy with the melodic with like the technicalities, and like that guitarist is so, and yeah, dude, great band.
They just get it.
Yeah,
They
if
just
you
get
don't
it.
like Between the Buried and Me, it's okay, but you're wrong.
Yeah.
What's a
that's
DVD? Is that like a small vinyl?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
Yes.
small vinyl you can
Yes.
you can see
You
on
had
a TV.
you had to go somewhere and buy it,
Weird.
and then you put it in another device that you had to buy.
Okay. Is that the
And-
one that you rewind with a pencil?
No, that's a tape. When I was a student teacher last year, I remember one of my students, he was like, man, Mr. L, wouldn't it be cool if like our phones and cameras and everything were all separate? And I was like, yeah, it was like 10 years ago, like the 90s. And he was like, whoa, what? I go, yeah, man, the phone used to be on the wall.
Yeah.
And you like
Oh, man.
couldn't go a certain distance from the phone. You just couldn't. And
Now
he
you
was
got-
like, what did you do? I was like, you just sat there and talked.
Yeah, and you
What?
used to not have to go to Urban Outfitters to buy one for $80.
Yeah. And I was like, look, back in my day, you actually had to call the girl. Her dad had to answer. And you had to be like, is Kelly there?
Oh man.
These were hard times, man. But like, I would always encourage like there were a lot of the guys, because this was like 8th grade, and they were all starting to play music. They were all starting to play in the band and stuff. And I remember once in a while you get like those guys who look like they're already like 27 years old and they're 14. They've got bigger mustache and, chest hair than I do. I'm like, this is insane. And they're like making fun of like the band nerd kids. But I would always tell those band nerds, I was like, look, man, eventually his Achilles is going to go out and you're still going to be able to jam. All right. Trust me. I was like, I live in Denton. That saxophone is way better than this guy being able to run 80 yards and 7.5 seconds right now. Trust me. It's going to come in handy down the road. Fight out the good fight, man.
That's awesome.
But, and then I'll get back to that before I went on this. So then you said Coheed and Cambria, dude. And then you also, when you kind of mentioned the theater, those two kind of ideas go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Coheed with the comic books and the theatrical music videos.
You don't want to get me into this.
Yeah,
like,
I don't
whatever
know.
time we have left here, it'll be gone in a second. Like, I could seriously talk about them for days.
Yeah, we'll have a whole separate segment where you can come in and I'll just listen.
I'm telling you,
and
I'm your guy. Just text me and I'll send you a whole thing.
And then you also mentioned Modest Mouse. Now, one of my favorite records from Modest Mouse is, I believe it's Moon in Antarctica, and then also a long drive with Nothing to Talk About.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Nothing to think about.
Yes.
Such like mouthfuls.
Yeah,
their songs.
Those two records like consumed like a lot of like the 4 years me and my best friend were traveling around the United States, and those two records we would listen to like over and over and over from Modest Mouse.
Yeah, I mean, like I listen to that. That's a huge inspiration for me, and that kind of stuff, because I can't write like Coheed, I can't write like Radiohead, so that's what I gravitate towards. Like, this is more tangible. I think I can be loud.
He also likes Radiohead.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned that.
I actually I got to play that Radiohead show that Chris put on.
I missed that.
I got to
think I was
DJ
sick
for that
night.
And so he hit me with this list of like 80 bands or 80 groups that had opened for them before, and he's like, just make your mix, these groups.
Awesome.
And it was cool because like I was scrolling through and I was like, oh man, like DJ Shadow, Handsome School, like modeling, like all these DJs and beat makers that I had no idea had opened for Radiohead. So I actually
was Flying Lotus on the list.
Oh yeah, I played like 5 of those tracks.
Exactly.
So yeah, he's ridiculous. And then you mentioned Metallica. My cousin in high school was a huge meathead. Great guy, but a big meathead. Right?
Disclaimer.
And great guy. And you could, if you heard like Metallica blaring from like the weight room, you knew that my cousin Daniel was in there, just like, say your prayers.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Just like, what is
That
going on?
brings me back to my football days, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I was gonna say. Like, I found the reason I kind of brought these bands back up is because you guys kind of like you gave me like the kind of the information I was looking for, is where does the songwriting come from, because the record's so dynamic. I didn't know when the music started. I was like, okay, I don't really know what the voice is going to sound like. I don't know where this is going to go. But
It'll sound bad.
No, each song that I listened to, I enjoyed, and I mean like I didn't just enjoy it. Like, I was listening and like resonated. Like, the messages, the words that are in the songs, I genuinely enjoy, and were hitting me in some feels.
Thank you,
gentlemen. So like I'm sitting there at lunch break, like, oh, man, I'm just trying to chill, and then you got me thinking about ex-girlfriends and whatnot, man, and like issues of like society in the world. Come on, Moniker, I'm trying to relax.
My mom, one of the first times she came out to see me live, playing with a band, she like listened. She like after the show, she's like, "Is everything okay? Are you sad?" And I was like, "No, this is like therapy for me, getting it out. It's great. I'm like probably happier than people who don't write really depressing songs."
Exactly. Yeah. If you write that stuff, that's the release. Some people work out, some people go to the shooting range, some people play golf, some people write music. Everybody has their different way of releasing that stress, and if you don't, you'll explode one day.
And we have friends who like write music in the similar vein, where it's like it's a release, and like they'll hide from the lyrics. They don't want people hearing it, and all that kind of stuff. I know too many people like that, and I think it's one of those things where, I'm proud of the lyrics. I'm not ashamed about what they're about, and I want everyone to hear it. I put my lyrics up everywhere, like on our websites and everything. I want people to know what they say, because, as I said, I'm old school. I like having the record in front of me. I like seeing the lyrics. I like being able to read, okay, that's what they say, because there's so many, like, I mean, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but so many records, like local records, that like I'll listen to, and I was like, I don't know what they're saying, but I'm just going to sing the melody, which is a bummer, because I really want to, be accurate, I guess, and be a true fan.
I hear you. And y'all put out a music video. Now please explain the paint. The face paint. You know, like
Yeah,
was this an ode to Kiss or?
There you go.
Okay, yeah.
I was wondering what you thought of it.
Yeah, our idea was like a black metal music video.
Okay, yeah.
If you look up some black metal music videos, it's like, you know,
Oh, yes,
them with
I know
this,
them.
the face paint that's all like in
In the woods.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hagen and I are super into metal.
Okay.
I think Ryan's into like
I appreciate it a lot.
yeah, like he's into like Metallica metal, but when I say Hagen and I are into metal, like Between the Buried and Me and like really heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that's not for everyone. And so like we were just sitting there, like that's what we call our most pop song. It's called She's Fine, and we're like, okay, well that's gonna be the single. What's the best way? Like, I want to do a music video. I really want to do that. What's the best way of doing it? We don't want to be too cheesy. We don't want to be on the nose, just playing it in front of people.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, it'd be really funny if we did our most like pop catchy song and like did like a brutal like metal video. So we contacted some people to do makeup, his girlfriend,
Yeah.
and another person named Heather, and we did a music video. We
That's
did it
awesome, man.
at Old Alton Bridge.
Okay.
And
I was wondering where that was filmed.
Only got the cops called on us once, so
It was right away too. It was
Oh, yeah.
right away.
we hadn't even
Yeah.
set up our instruments in the forest yet and started playing. Like, we were just doing shots of us running through the forest, and then we had walked a little bit in, and so I was thinking, okay, there's only one way to get to us, so we'd see somebody coming, and we turn, and the sheriff is just walking from the forest, not from the trail. And
Oh, wow.
he just looks at us, and we're like, hey, man, and he was like, someone called, and we were like, oh, yeah, we're just doing a music video and some photos, and he goes, oh, okay, I see that, that's cool, and then he started talking to us and was super interested in it, like, he just doing his job.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
like, it was crazy how, like,
someone said there were a bunch of grown men running around with war paint in here.
yeah,
So I approached from the rear.
yeah, but yeah, and some people were doing like nice little family photos. I think it was on a Sunday, and
there,
like
there was definitely graduation photos. There was engagement photos. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on around while we were all
I hope there's just a few of those caught you guys like running around in the background.
I tried. There were some little kids, and I was like, their parents paid good money to have a photographer. I'm like hiding my face so I
Yeah.
don't scare the kids, and then they're like, oh, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm not scary. I have a cat at home. I'm a nice guy.
I have a cat.
And that they're like, oh, don't worry. We've been telling them if they're bad for these photos, they're coming home with you. And I was like, don't worry, I'm great. Like, I'm sitting there trying to be as nice as possible.
Parents are using the war paint kids to threaten their children into taking good photos.
But yeah, that was
Be good for your parents, kids, or are you going home with moniker? It's terrifying.
It was
Yeah.
it was a pretty fun music video though. That was like that was one that aside from all of like the spectacles happening around us, we just decided to just be as ridiculous as we possibly could.
That's
Oh, yeah.
perfect.
Like
man.
the drum set that I set up was just completely unrealistic. Would never ever
Three
ever.
drum kits.
Oh yeah, it was two bass drums and the
You're like
tiny
Danny
bass
Carey.
drum. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was just obnoxious, and Jackson breaks a guitar in it. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, at least y'all had a good time filming it.
I was worried that people were gonna like associate us with that because we didn't explain to anyone like what we were doing. Like we started putting stuff up on our Instagram just with the like pictures of us in full makeup, and like people were like, what is this? Are you a metal band?
Oh, I saw, and I was like, hey.
Well, I was at a Fish Boy show, and I was talking
Nice.
to Eric from Fish Boy, and he was like talking to me, and then like we were just talking about each other's music, and then he just looks at me and he goes, so are you guys a metal band now? And I was just like, no. And I explained it to him. I was like, yeah, we're doing this like tongue-in-cheek music video. And he goes, I was like, I don't know if I should explain that to people or not. He goes, don't.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, like, no,
I was
don't
like,
at all.
sweet.
Yeah.
No, I think it's awesome, man. Like, I don't know. My music's pretty chill. Maybe I'll steal your idea.
That's the way to do it. I mean, it's
Make
fun.
it like a heavy EDM music video, and my
Yes.
stuff's like hip hop jazz.
Yeah.
It's
Have
kind of
all
like
these
that
candy
whole,
kids running
Yeah.
around.
What I did was I took pictures of our makeup and I showed my friends on my Snapchat. I'm like, yeah, we're juggalos now. Look at us. Look at us. We rolling.
Oh man, what's that soda they like to drink?
Fago.
Fago.
Yeah, I gotta get the Fago.
We were
Oh,
making
yeah.
jokes like that all day. Like,
Magnets.
who
How
brought
do
the
they
Fago?
work? Miracles. It's the greatest, one of the greatest songs ever written, right there.
We were
He's like-
talking about because we have a show like right next to Christmas, and we were talking about like doing some like Christmas makeup in the same vein as that.
Yeah, some red or some
Yeah.
red and green.
Yeah, exactly.
it'd be
Brutal.
Awesome. Yeah, very brutal. So yeah, I was actually going to mention that y'all have a show coming up very soon. And is it Backyard? Are you guys doing it at Backyard?
Harvest House.
Harvest House.
Yeah.
There we go. My bad. Okay.
It's all good.
Harvest. And when is that in December?
It's this Saturday,
This
which is
Saturday,
December
16th.
16th.
December 16th. What time?
This show starts at 9 p.m.
Okay.
with particular people who
Okay.
are from here in Denton.
Nice.
And then we go on around like 10:30,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to be playing the record from front to back. And if people
Nice.
will have us after that, we'll play some other songs too.
Right, very
But
cool.
We'll be selling the record, physicals. We'll have some new T-shirts. We have a whole setup.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. Have you guys ever played Harvest House before?
A couple
Yeah.
times, yeah.
Yeah, I'm playing there the 28th for my first time with Boombox.
That's
Yeah, I'm gonna
right.
open
That's
for the
cool.
Boombox, man. Yeah,
One
I
of the
would-
best sound systems in
I
Denton.
can't,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
And I decided I was like, I'm doing an all original set that night. Like, I'm not playing
Do it.
anybody. Like,
Yeah.
I need to hear what my own stuff sounds like on that set, on that system. So I've called my dad 4 times, by the way, to come to the show. Pick up your phone. I left him a
Yeah.
message today
Pick
that
up
was
your
just
phone.
hey Dad, it's Mike, call me back. Still haven't heard from him. It's been 9 hours.
We can call him on air right now.
I
if
don't,
you want.
you know. Here, let's try this out. Actually, I like
Oh.
this. Hold on, I'm gonna call him up real quick. Let's call that. We've got a few minutes here. We've
Oh,
got
we
some
can do
time.
this.
We got
Yeah,
some
we're
time.
fine.
man.
All right.
Dad, yes, I'm here with the band Moniker. Who? They're really
Oh,
disappointed.
you know.
All right, let's see if he'll pick up. We've never done this before, by the way, but we're gonna see what happens.
That's great.
I hope
Put
he's
the
like, "Hey,
phone
Mike,
up
how you
there.
doing?"
He's not gonna answer.
Yeah, if
Are
he
we gonna
does it,
leave a voicemail?
totally. I mean, not all of y'all.
Oh man.
Hey, Dad, what's up? What are you cooking for dinner?
You ever been on the radio?
Pork chops for you and pan-fried tilapia for Deb. That sounds awesome. I like that. Okay. Okay. Okay, well, I'm live on the radio with you right now, Dad. And don't worry, they can't hear what you're saying, but they know what you're having for dinner now. But the reason I'm calling is because I've called you 4 times to come to my show at Harvest House, and you hadn't picked up, and the band I was talking to is playing at Harvest House, and they're like, we should call him right now, see if he answers. So I'm playing December 28th at Harvest House. I want you to come to that show, okay? Okay, awesome. I'm going to text you again, okay?
We'll see you there.
No, it's okay. It starts at 8 o'clock at night. All right? Yes, sir. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. Love you, Dad. All right, bye.
So was that what like?
He goes.
Did you feel insane right there
Yeah.
with like our voices in your
Yeah,
head,
it was
his
pretty
voice
weird.
in your head?
Well, I go, you're on the radio. He goes, oh, no.
Oh no.
I was like, don't worry, they can't hear. And so right before he hangs up, he goes, you're on the radio, huh? I go, yeah. He goes, well, all right, sounds good.
Does he know you do this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He
Yes.
does. He knows all of my endeavors. But I was like, you know what? I've called him 3 times in the last 3 days, twice today. He's gonna pick up now that he's on. Now he's gonna like.
I'm glad we could have been part of
Yeah,
that.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that y'all were. That was awesome right there. Thank you, Dad. Scott LaCroix, good man right there. He's gonna. I know right now he's just like. He's gonna call me back and be like, "Don't ever do that again." You know, like, look, Dad, I graduated. You don't help me pay rent, nothing anymore. I'm a grown man now, kind of.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys are gonna be playing at Harvest House. That show starts at 9 p.m. When do you guys start playing?
10:30.
10:30. Okay, so you guys gonna go? You think 10:30 to midnight or?
Hopefully.
Very
Yeah.
nice, man. 10:30
If
10:30
people
to
will have
midnight.
us.
Now, did you guys print the record on CDs?
Mhm.
Okay, very cool, very
It's
cool.
everywhere. You can get it on Spotify, iTunes, Bandcamp, but we also have CDs. If you want
Sweet.
me to, bring one to your house, let me know.
Yeah, exactly. Are any
I
of the
haven't-
Moniker delivery service is
Yeah,
in the making.
I
Yeah,
haven't
right.
set up our delivery thing on
having I don't
Bandcamp
know,
yet.
an
but
Uber Music?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
yeah,
them
exactly.
bring you the music that you want.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet. You know? So we've got that going down, and when it comes to when you guys are like getting like the process of like, okay, we've got like who do you contact as far as like actually getting your record printed, you know, because getting it mastered and all that stuff is one thing, because then you can get all those and you can just put it back online. But as far as getting a record printed, who did you guys go to for that?
Well, the beauty of, you know, the internet nowadays is you can just look that stuff up and like it's super simple to like find. You know, there's so many people who print records and print whatever you need, stickers, posters, whatever it is. And, you know, we just went through Atomic Disc and it was incredible. They did an amazing job. I was worried. We worked really hard on the artwork, and I was super worried it wasn't going to translate once we sent it.
No, the artwork is awesome, by the way.
Thank you. It's done by our friend Emily LaFaro from Austin.
Very cool.
Super happy with what she did.
It was good. Yeah, it was very, very. I can't even really think of the wording of how I would describe it, but it was like almost like Ansel Adams meets, you know, like new school geometric designs. Like, that's how I felt,
what's cool about it is, so on the front and the back of the physical copy, and this is the beauty of getting a physical record, is you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. We have a video of me unboxing it on our social media, but and the front and back, it's just, you know, it's like just a classic picture, and it's in like a kind of this circle, kind of hard to explain, but hopefully you guys will look it up. But then when you open it up, it's like the same idea. It's those pictures, but we've been calling them glitch art. So it's like, it goes from this really kind of like natural feeling artwork to you open it up, and it's kind of this modern like glitch thing. And that's a horrible way of explaining it, but hopefully
I saw it. It made sense to me.
Hopefully you guys will check it out.
One thing that I've realized is we haven't even said the name of the record yet.
It's called Stalemate.
There we go. I was like, we've said song names, we've said the record 100 times, but we have not said Stalemate yet. So, man, I'm excited about this. Now, before we go, guys, we got a couple minutes left here before we've got Ellie coming on stage with the Denton on stage. Fired. Coming on the radio
Life is
here.
a stage.
This is a stage. This is a form of stage.
It's true. I often bow to my dogs after feeding them. Yes, a wonderful performance by myself. You're welcome. Treats for all. Treats for all. So last question that I've got for you guys, I ask everybody, this is how we end every show, is what is your favorite snack? So that way when I come to the shows, I can bring your favorite snack.
Oh, wow.
You know, like some people have spicy Cheetos. Some people are avocados with Icelandic salt.
Gummy bears.
Gummy bears? Oh, man. See, gummy bears are good. They're cheap. I can throw them at Hagen from afar and they won't hurt.
Yeah, but only one specific brand.
Oh, Hasbro?
Haribo, yeah.
Haribo? Yeah, Hasbro? Isn't that like a toy con?
Yeah, I mean, if you give me Hasbro gummy bears, sure, they might hurt a little bit if you throw them, but...
Get them the sugar-free one. Isn't that the one that gives you horrible gas?
Yes, yeah.
Trapped in a room. Oh.
Things you can't unlearn about Hagen.
No, not Hagen. It gives everyone gas. Look it up. Look up like the Haribo or whatever it was, sugar-free on Amazon. Like the reviews, like it gives everybody horrible gas.
People
for
have
some
looked
reason.
it up.
I didn't know that. So I was just assuming that Hagen.
I have a problem.
Sorry.
I keep buying them, too.
Can't put them down.
I ate like almost a whole bag of spicy Cheetos, Flamin' Hots, which is like one of my favorite things of all time. And then I woke up the next day and couldn't go to work. And I haven't eaten them since. Like I felt so bad. I was just like, and then my friend was like, those destroy your stomach lining. And I was like, I've been eating these things for 9 years. Nobody ever told me that. Like, they should have a thing on the front like cigarettes that lets you know you will miss a day's pay if you consume the entire bag.
If it was like that, I think everything would have something on it. Don't get bummed out by that, man.
What is your snack, man?
I honestly don't know. That's a super hard question.
Right.
But I'm going to go with like cheese snacks, but not like Cheetos and stuff like that. Like Cheez-Its and Goldfish.
All right, yeah.
And specifically the whole grain ones.
Very nice. Good choices. And how about you, man?
For me, I'm a big candy person. I like peach rings a lot.
There you go.
Those are so good.
There you go. Man, I remember one time, long time ago,
yeah,
we were at the grocery store, and my older brother was with a friend, and this is when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and my mom was like telling him and his friend, she was like, you can get a candy bar if you want. Like, get a candy bar, I'll buy you. So my brother goes and gets like a peanut Butterfinger or something like that, and the other kid comes back with a kiwi. And I just remember thinking this was like the most like destruction of like a good sweet gaining opportunity.
Yeah.
Like you can have a candy bar. I'll go with a kiwi. I remember like being 4 and being angry that this man had the opportunity to get candy and chose a kiwi.
What is this?
Yeah, so Jeremiah, I'm still mad at you about that.
I think, now that I think of it, and I want to put this out for the world to hear now because we never talked about it and we never went through with this plan, I think we can agree that as Moniker, our like favorite, if you want to call it a snack, but more of a soda, is Dr. Pepper.
Oh yeah.
And we had this funny idea when we were just getting started of like putting a Dr. Pepper in every single picture we took, and we were gonna like do hashtag find the pepper and like just like hide it in our Instagram posts and all that stuff. And our goal was to try and get sponsored by Dr. Pepper, and we never did it. But who knows? We might bring that.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Not
that's
too late.
awesome.
Not
Pelt,
too late.
yeah, pelt Dr. Peppers
That's
at
what's
us.
up, dude.
We'll take off our clothes and douse ourselves in
Yeah.
it.
Well, fellas, from NSYNC to Dr. Pepper to to Low Tides, the Buried in Me, we've talked about a lot tonight. Hey, I appreciate y'all coming on. I honestly think we probably could have had like another hour, honestly, to cover everything.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So thanks for coming on, y'all. Tonight, thank y'all for tuning in tonight as well. Next week, I've got Levi Cobb and the Big Smoke in the studio. We've got Ellie Bell and the Denton Vibe coming up next. Y'all stay tuned, stay chill right here on DentonRadio.com. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.